In the world of music, there are stars who capture the spotlight, enchanting audiences with their powerful lead vocals. Yet, behind these luminaries, there are often unsung heroes whose voices blend seamlessly to create the perfect harmony. One such talent is Pat Lewis, a name that may not be immediately recognizable to the masses, but whose voice has graced some of the most iconic tracks in soul and R&B history. Pat was an American soul singer, and had been in the music industry since the 1960s. Born Patsy Lewis on October 23, 1947, in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, her family moved to Detroit, Michigan in 1951. She came from a musical family. Her father played piano and her mother and siblings sang. Like most R&B singers from that era, she started singing in the church. In a 2020 interview on the YouTube podcast That's My Story, hosted by Ken Knox, Brandon Stevens, and Jerry Midas Hardison, Pat recalled singing and harmonizing at a very early age.
Did you know always that you wanted to be a singer, or was it, like at an early age, or?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you recall?
Yeah. So I had a hairbrush for my microphone.
Okay, as a kid.
The whole thing.
Yes.
Used to tap off of Why Do Fools Fall in Love.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I always knew what I wanted to do.
Interesting. Yeah.
It was her brother who first nudged her towards the music industry, suggesting she audition for Thelma Records, a label owned by Berry Gordy's first wife, Thelma Coleman. Norman Whitfield and Richard Street auditioned her, and soon after she started doing background work and sometimes sitting in with a group called the Sonnets. Pat gravitated towards music with an eagerness that couldn't be denied. Every day after school she would go to the studio and stay for hours learning more about music, absorbing everything like a sponge, developing her own sound. Pat would also seize every opportunity to perform. She was still singing in the church choir as well as sock hops and talent shows. She was around 16 when her cousin, a blues harmonica player known as Little Sonny, who had been performing at Detroit nightclubs, asked Patsy to be his opening act. Although her parents were hesitant, Sonny assured them he would watch over her. Patsy and her sister Diane, along with friends Jackie and Betty Winston, also sisters, attended Central High School in Detroit. Both sets of sisters had been singing throughout school and around town, and they had friends in the music industry. The Lewis sisters knew Popcorn Wiley, and the Winston sisters were friends with Freddie Gorman and Bob Hamilton. The guys thought it'd be a great idea to put the girls together in a singing group. They saw potential in the quartet, got them signed to Golden World, and named them the Adorables. While the girls were waiting to release their own recordings, they sang background vocals for some of the label's other artists. One notable song they did backing vocals on was The Reflections, just like Romeo and Juliet. The Adorables recorded 6 songs and released 3 singles during their time at Golden World: School's Over, Ooh Baby, and Deep Freeze. Patsy also worked as a secretary for the company. The Adorables disbanded in 1965 for various reasons. Patsy and Diane would both have solo careers and continue to do background work in other projects. Betty also had a solo career under the name Betty Boo. While it is commonly believed that Patsy's first encounter with the Andantes was during a session for Stevie Wonder's Uptight, but it actually occurred earlier than that for a song recorded at Golden World Studio for the Rick Tick label.
I started singing with the Andantes before '66 because Louvain, she couldn't make one of the sessions.
Okay.
And Mr. Wingate said, "Well, Pat is here."
Was that the Stevie Wonder session?
No, this
That was a
was
different
the
one. Okay.
80 Double Soul session.
All right.
Oh, come on now, Pat. That's right, yeah. It was stuff.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for part 2. Pat turns up the heat with Hot Buttered Soul.